Hello everyone, Mason here. How are you doing? Today it's time for a bit of fun, a celebration. Here I am, answering your questions to celebrate the fact that this channel now has over 100 subscribers. An achievement I'm both extremely proud of and grateful for. I'm having so much fun with this, and I honestly cannot thank you enough for the friendship and the support that you've been showing me. Let's not mess about and dive right in. I'm sure this Q&A will be a lot of fun, full of simple and easy to answer questions, like this one. Larry has opinions, wants to know, what are some of your favourite foods? Also, pineapple on pizza, yes or no? Oh, for fuck. Right, favourite foods first. I am a man-child. I said this in my last video, and as much as I was talking about my sense of humour, it also counts towards my taste buds because I haven't grown up, and neither are they. Truth is, I like things that are bad. The worse the better. Give me pizza, burgers, chips. If you can put cheese on it, I'm pretty much good with it. Give me chocolate, cake, ice cream, or a chocolate ice cream cake. Give me a coffee or a milkshake. I don't care. If it's bad, I like it. I'm not ashamed. This is who I am. As for pineapple on pizzas, I hate this debate, man. People are so extreme on either side of the argument. They either love it or they hate it. And as is the case with so many things in life, I'm sat on the fence, in the middle, like, why are you all so worked up right now? I can take it or leave it. I've had ham and pineapple pizza where it's been great. I've had it where it's been gross. It's one of those things that if you do it well, it's really good, and if you do it bad, it's really horrible. It's not like pineapple isn't something that goes with ham. I'm not going to look at you funny for eating gammon with a pineapple ring. And for the people that are like, oh, fruit on pizza, you're eating a tomato base. Guess what, mate? Tomato, fruit. The green peppers that you've got on there, fruit. So whilst I'm aware that I'm about to ignite the burning hatred of everyone, because I'm not going to give a solid answer either way, pineapple on pizza, sometimes. Feel free to debate this one in the comment section. Lady Jane Boots wants to know, if you could have dinner with anybody, alive or deceased, who would it be? And who are some of your favourite actors? Jane, alive or deceased? Look, I know I have a passion for the crime genre, and there are people from the past that I'd like to have dinner with, but I think I'm going to get weird looks if I'm scarfing down my ham and pineapple pizza with a corpse in the next chair. Oh, you meant someone that's deceased now, but in that hypothetical situation where they're having dinner with me would still be alive. Yeah, of course you did. Silly me. I know with this being Booktube and that lot, I should probably answer somebody bookish, and as a Lord of the Rings fan I should probably say Tolkien, but I feel like I would just bore the pants off that guy, and he'd just leave halfway through the dinner, and then I'd have to cope with the fact that I've disappointed one of my lifelong heroes. So I'd probably pick David Bowie, just because I feel like he'd have so many interesting stories to tell. In terms of somebody that's alive, I'd probably pick either Sir Ian McKellen or Stephen Fry. Preferably both, to be honest. Imagine those two having dinner together and me just sitting there listening to them talk. It'd be amazing. Oh, favourite actors. I kind of hate this question too because it's so difficult. There are a lot of fantastic actors out there, and it's kind of hard to pick. Bones is one of my favourite TV shows of all time, and to be honest, you could pretty much pick any of the actors from that show because I think they're all amazing. But Emily Deschanel as Temperance Brennan is perfect. She does such a good job of portraying this woman that at the beginning of the show is isolated, introverted, awkward, rude, and generally struggles to connect with other people, but over the course of a 12-season show that has over 200 episodes, opens up and turns into a person that has so many layers. She's got so much depth to her, and I love that character. I love John Sim, both as the Master in Doctor Who and as Sam Tyler in Life on Mars, which is another favourite of mine. Philip Glenister as Gene Hunt in that show is so good. Freddie Highmore blows my mind. That man has so much talent, so much range. The fact that he's British, and then he plays Norman Bates perfectly in Bates Motel, and Sean in The Good Doctor equally as well, and those two characters could not be more different. Andrew Lincoln as Rick Grimes in The Walking Dead is another one of my favourite performances of all time. I also always enjoy Martin Freeman when I see him in anything, the main three obviously being Watson in Sherlock, Bilbo in The Hobbit, and Arthur Dent in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which are all just amazing performances and completely varied. So yeah, those are some of my favourites. Johanna wants to know, if you could pick 3 books to represent your personality or taste in reading, what would they be? I thought about this one a lot, and I found it pretty difficult, if I'm being honest. With an 8-year gap in my reading from 19 to 27, I'm not particularly sure what my tastes are anymore. I think I'm still learning that. So I try to focus on representing my personality. It's funny because I read pretty much exclusively fiction, but the 3 that I ended up choosing were non-fiction. I think they're 3 good choices though. The first is Talk to the Hand, The Utter Bloody Rudeness of Society Today, or 6 Good Reasons to Stay Home and Bolt Your Door by Lynn Truss. Now I know I seem like a fairly sociable person, and I am. I like meeting new people, I like talking to people, just not in real life. Unfortunately, a lot of people in the general public are rude, selfish, and have no manners. If COVID has made a few things clear, that's definitely one of them. I have a game I like to play when I'm out in public. It's called Have a Nice Day. Anyone that I interact with, at the end, I tell them to have a nice day, and my success rate on people who say it back is so low, and I think that speaks volumes about what people are like. Last year, my guide dog, Una, retired, and one of the main reasons that I didn't end up reapplying for another one and ended up using a white cane instead is that a lot of people come up and try to stroke her while we were working. You'd think that it's common knowledge that you don't pet a service dog while it's working, but so many people did, even during lockdown. You get people who even come up and say, "Oh, I know I shouldn't, but I can't resist, she's just so cute," and I absolutely hated it. So suffice to say, I prefer the safety of my flat to going out in the general public, so I think that 6 Good Reasons to Stay Home and Bolt Your Door is probably a good representation of the way I feel. The second one is Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs by Caitlin Doty, who I'm sure some of you at least have heard of. She's a mortician that runs her own YouTube channel, and she's an author. Caitlin's whole thing is making people more death positive, less afraid of the entire thing. Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs features a load of questions that she was asked by children, and so I think it would be entertaining and informative. I'm one of the people that really needs that. I am terrified of the unknown. The idea of ghosts absolutely terrifies me, and I am just one of those people that gets existential dread and anxiety, so I think reading something like Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs will probably help me, so I chose that as well. The third and final book that I chose was Forensics for Dummies by D.P. Lyle. Don't think I need to explain this one too much. I love crime fiction. The more heavily focused on forensics it is, the more I'm interested, and I'd love to understand forensic science better, and I am a dummy, so it's just a perfect book for me. Sarah Reeds wants to know, what is the best book that you found because of Booktube? I've been lucky so far. I've enjoyed pretty much everything that I've read. I've discovered Rachel Abbott and Beth O'Leary, who are both fantastic authors that I want to read more by. I think the thing that excites me the most though is my current read. Throughout my life, I've had friends who had a passion for graphic novels, a passion that I couldn't share with them. In particular, I had one friend who was heavily into V for Vendetta, and I always thought that I'd like to read it and was kind of gutted by the fact that I was never going to have that chance. So imagine my surprise and joy when someone pointed out to me recently that there was an audiobook version. I hadn't even considered that that would be the case, but there's actually 2 versions available on Audible. I'm not particularly sure what the difference is, but one is 9 hours long and one is 4.5 hours long. The 9-hour long one, which is the one I chose, is based on the screenplay by the Wachowski sisters, so it feels fairly familiar because I watched the film for the first time last year. I don't want to say too much about it because I want to save my thoughts for the review, but it's been great to read something that I genuinely never thought I'd have the chance to, and that has happened because of Booktube. Can't really express how grateful I am for that. Sam, from GreenerSideOfSam, wants to know, what is the first book you read that made you fall in love with reading? At this point, I've talked a lot about The Lord of the Rings on this channel, and it's no secret that it's one of my great loves of reading. Probably the first one. But what I always do is not give The Hobbit enough credit. I always talk about The Lord of the Rings and I think about The Hobbit as being in with that story, so I don't give the actual book enough credit, even though that would have been what I read first. So I guess the honest answer is actually The Hobbit rather than The Lord of the Rings. I think the book that reignited my love for reading is 1984 though. I read that for the first time last year and I couldn't believe how much I enjoyed it. And that's not long before I started getting heavily into Booktube because I wanted to know what people thought of that book, and here we are now, so I actually wanted to give 1984 its props. Rosie Cockshutt wants to know, what's something that you're super interested in or passionate about but don't get the chance to talk about? I have 2 answers for this. The first one is blindness. So far I've got 2 videos dedicated to it on my channel so far, and it's something that I'd like to talk about more. The problem is that it's so normal for me. I grew up visually impaired, I've now been completely blind for over 4 years, and it's just something that I find completely normal, so I struggle to come up with things to talk about. I don't know what people are interested in, what they want to know, so it's just not something that I've had the opportunity to talk about too much yet. The second one is music. God, I love music and always have done, and I haven't had a chance to talk about it on this channel yet. I honestly enjoy looking up what music I'm going to use for a video so much. I use Epidemic Sounds and I can get sucked into a black hole just listening to track after track after track. Music is the other thing with reading that I can think of that I've always enjoyed. These days I listen to quite a mixture of things. My Spotify is full of different genres. I've got a bit of classical on there, I've got epic instrumental tracks from people like Gothic Storm, Sound Adventures, Ninja Tracks, Thomas Ferguson, 2 Steps from Hell. I still enjoy listening to quite a lot of the stuff that I did when I was a teenager. If you put a noughties rock playlist on, you're going to find a lot of tracks that I like. I quite like instrumental guitarists like John Fife, Joe Satriani, Matthias Eklund, Joe Stump, Andy Timmons. I quite like ska too, Real Big Fish, Popes of Chilitown, Naked Superhero. If you put trumpets in a song, there's a good chance I'm going to like it. Jellicle wants to know, since you listen to a lot of audiobooks, do you have a favourite narrator, and do you prefer audiobooks with a single narrator or a full cast? That's a great question. In terms of my favourite narrator, I think so far The Midnight Library has been the book that I read with the best narration. Carrie Mulligan brings life to Nora Seed. She narrates it perfectly. The way that she does it just makes Nora feel like a real person that you're actually listening to, and it just made her so relatable, and I loved it a lot. I think for the most part I would prefer a single narrator. I enjoy that more, but at the same time I also really enjoyed both The Switch and The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. They were narrated so well, and I think that if you've got two characters, having one narrator for each of them works pretty well, but I wouldn't really want any more than two. I find it kind of distracting for some reason. I haven't listened to a fully casted audiobook yet, although I did try the one by John Mars and could not get into it at all. I've always quite liked Stephen Fry. I enjoyed his narration of the Harry Potter audiobooks, and on the Amazon wishlist right now I've got the Orwell collection, Sherlock Holmes collection, and the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy that he's narrated, and I cannot wait to listen to them. That's actually all of the questions, so I have one for you. But before I get to that, I wanted to say this. Thank you so much for everyone that subscribed, showed me the friendship and the support that's made this as much fun as it has been so far. Secondly, everybody other than Jellicle who asked questions for this Q&A has a channel of their own, and if you haven't checked them out, you need to, because they're all amazing, and I'll have them linked in the description along with my Twitter. Here's my question though. Sasquatch, real or fake? Let me know in the comments section. I seriously need to stop watching Survivor Man.